welcome back to another episode of the Behind the Counter Show live edition. My name is Vince, and this is James.
Hello.
And we are here with HB Pharmacy in Gasper's Best. And today we are going to be talking about a topic that I actually personally love to talk about, New Year's resolutions specifically. So we're going to be talking a little bit about resolutions as a whole, why they always don't work out so well or as well as you may have intended, and what to do instead. And we'll also give some kind of suggestions. So if you're following along on Facebook, we actually have the worksheets posted there in the caption. So for those of you watching who want to follow along with the worksheet, we have two of them right here. Setting goals like a pro, and on Instagram it'll fit in there. And then a different worksheet related to small actionable steps too. If you are having trouble getting that link or would like the link, just shoot us a message and I can send it to you separately after the video. But for those of you who want to follow along with us, that's kind of what we're going to be covering today. And then we're going to give some other suggestions. And if you're interested too, feel free to chime in with some of the your goals and things that you may have set for this year. And we can kind of help you troubleshoot and see if we can help refine your goals to make them even stronger goals that you're more likely to actually succeed at this year for 2021. So let's get started. So what's a resolution you've had in the past, James? Or what's a resolution you've had, let's say, that maybe you have succeeded at or one that you have not succeeded at?
Well, right now, today, we are at 21st of January. And as of January 1st, I was going to say, well, this year is the year that I'm going to quit drinking.
This is the year.
And I have failed miserably after 5 days. So, a month hasn't passed by, but, unfortunately, it's extremely tough, and as soon as it's before you know it, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm drinking right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny.
Becomes...
I didn't make that as a New Year's resolution, but I honestly drank a lot more in 2020 than I have in years previously.
Absolutely.
And between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I was
right.
You know what? I'm not going to drink between. Not going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, a week later, I'm like, oh, here I am back doing it again, right? So why is that, you think? Why is it that, that's not uncommon, right? Like, I'm saying it now, you're saying it now, but a lot of people, even if it's fitness, right? You start off the year saying, this is my year, I'm going to hit the gym, I'm going to get strong, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, whatever it is. And then, maybe it works out for a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months.
Even, right.
Or maybe it's only a week like me or something like that. So that's what we're here to talk about today. Why those resolutions don't work out and what you can do instead. So typically the reasons those resolutions don't work out are because you set these massive goals that are almost unattainable or goals that are unrealistic, right? For yourself, perhaps in this case, it's unrealistic to think that you're never going to drink alcohol
kind of
again.
Hurts, but I guess
right?
it's true.
But that's true. That's how it works. We set these large, massive goals, and the other difference is we set goals that are based on outcomes instead of behaviors. Now, what is an outcome versus behavior? Glad you asked, James. Thank you for asking. So, an outcome, let's go with the weight loss case, which is a common New Year's resolution, right? An outcome would be, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to lose 20 pounds. That would be an outcome, right? Obviously, that's something you want to do. It's a great goal. There's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve that, but the problem is that goal in and of itself doesn't really give you any methodology behind how to actually achieve that goal, right? So then you say, okay, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and then you start going to the gym, and then maybe you make a salad or two, and then you're okay, and then you kind of lose sight of it, right?
Right.
The difference between an outcome goal versus a behavior goal is a behavior is setting goals around what you can do to actually reach that goal, with, of course, keeping the outcome, their desired outcome in mind, but focusing your actual specific goal on those small, tangible, actionable steps that will actually enable you to reach your desired outcome. So in the example we just gave, the difference would be, instead of saying, I will lose 3 pounds, a better goal would be, I would go to the gym, right? And there's more levels beyond that too, which we'll get to in a second, but that's just the difference between an outcome and a behavior right there, is that an outcome is obviously the end result you desire. Behavior, the result that will get you to, or the action that will get you to said result, right? So let's break it down right there into small, actionable things quickly before we get into setting a goal together, which we'll do in a second. And as we're going along with the video, of course, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to chime in. If you're watching this video after the fact and want the worksheets as well, just shoot us a message or give us a call at HB Pharmacy. Our number is 201-997-2010, or find us online at our website and all of that fun stuff too, and you can reach out there. So let's start with foods. This worksheet here, small actionable steps, and it's backwards on Instagram, but bear with me. So James and I are going to go through this right now. So most of us fail to reach our goals because, like it or not, we try to do too much at once or aren't being realistic with time limitations and blah, blah, blah. So the purpose of this worksheet is to define foods and then exercise into things you're definitely ready to do now. Maybe you're okay, ready to do now temporarily, and then not right now. Absolutely not. I'm not giving that up. I'm not eating that, whatever. So what's an example for you, James? What do you think? What's a food that you are definitely, maybe you're not eating as much of it right now as you'd want, but you're definitely able and ready to add more of it to your diet right now?
Actually, it would be just simple, like a spring mix on a salad.
Spring mix? Okay.
Like a salad, because basically I can probably add whatever I'm eating. I'm not really restricting anything else. Whatever I'm eating, I can definitely add a bowl of it. Whatever meal I'm having, I can always chow that down anytime. So yeah, I think that might be something that's probably very easy to do as well.
Okay. And you know what I'll add on to that too, when it comes to spring mix, especially if you're just getting started, especially if you're looking to build momentum, eating more vegetables is always a good thing.
Sure.
So even if the way you have to go about eating more vegetables is, let's say, putting lettuce, tomato, spring mix, whatever, on a burger with the bun, right? And I know that's like, oh my God, how dare someone in nutrition say that you should eat a burger with a bun and that kind of stuff. But I'm being serious. If the alternative is no vegetables, some vegetables will always be better than no vegetables. So if you're just going to eat the burger with the bun and without any vegetables anyway, what's the harm in adding a few veggies to it? That's how you take small actionable steps to build momentum into trying to reach your goal. So that's a good one. And on the flip side too, didn't you, as we were talking about this video yesterday, what was your other point about eating the burger with the bun? Now we're talking about eating more of or less of, so...
Sure. I mean, and again, something that I also failed pretty miserably. I try to do myself. Sometimes when you do get a burger, right? And I'm like, I'm going to enjoy this burger, but I still have a little guilt in the back of my head, right? So I used to take off the top bun out and just eat with the bottom bun. So I feel that that's a little less calories overall, I guess.
Sure.
Little less gluten and other inflammatory things that I like to talk about as well. Yeah,
sure.
So that's what I try to do sometimes.
It's almost the same as, okay, you know what? I go to Starbucks or my local coffee house.
Sure.
5 times a week, let's say 4 times a week, whatever it is. Some people are as bad with their Starbucks as we are with drinking, I guess. But, let's say you're doing that. Instead of maybe getting your 4-pump Mocha Grande, Chino, whatever.
Whipped cream.
With whipped cream.
Right.
Instead, why don't you try, hey, my goal to start the year, instead of getting 4 pumps of sugar or whatever that is, I'm just going to start off with 2 pumps and cut that in half. That is a great habit-based goal. You're taking small, measurable steps, and that's a behavior-based goal as opposed to, yes, of course, your outcome is you want to lose weight, you want to be healthier, right? But instead of focusing on that, we're going to focus on little actionable things we can do that'll help us get there. So reducing sugar in that sense, just something simple like, hey, I'm still getting my coffee, I'm still doing whatever, but just a little bit less sugar in it.
Sure, absolutely.
That's a great one too. And again, as we're going through here, if anyone has any thoughts or comments or want to share in that sense, feel free to chime in too. Otherwise, we'll keep plugging along here. How about this? I think a big thing that people get intimidated about when it comes to eating healthier and setting goals is meal prep.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
It's certainly challenging part on my side as well. I'm not a great cook myself.
Okay.
So when I can do small little things, but when I'm thinking of a big meal plan, like for a week, let's just say, it gets very difficult. Okay, I don't know if I can do maybe even one meal at the moment, how to prep for it. So I guess just the idea that I have to make something fancy sometimes, or something that is correct or right, maybe sometimes even, like, does this adhere to what I'm trying to do? Thinking of all that, it's pretty,
And then you get analysis paralysis, and then you end up like, I don't know, this is too much, and then that kind of knocks you off your plan too.
At the end,
right?
like, am I really going to eat this, what I just made too?
Sure. I think sometimes a mistake people make, again, the same with the resolutions, we try so hard to be perfect and try so hard to be quote unquote right, whatever that means, that it's counterproductive. And something is better than nothing usually when it comes to eating healthier, right? So instead of maybe saying, all right, I'm gonna, meal prep these fancy feasts, and listen, I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cooking. I don't there are some people who find cooking therapeutic or enjoyable. I'm not really one of those people. So for me, even when I'm meal prepping, there's a great chickpea pasta out there that I like called Bonza, and Bonza pasta essentially has higher fiber, more protein because it's made from chickpeas instead of
Mm-hmm.
wheat. So what I've done is I'll say, okay, I can make a box of this, and I can make 3 meals and take that to lunch. And you can add some tomato sauce. You can add some little turkey bolognese if you're feeling a little fancier. But that stuff is so simple and quick to make, and it's so much more nutritious than the alternative
Sure.
that I always find that as a good win too. So I am definitely ready to eat that kind of stuff, and that's something again takes a little bit of planning. Meal prep doesn't have to be crazy fancy feasts. Even if I say, okay, on Sunday I just know around 6 o'clock I gotta cook this. I can cook it while I'm cooking whatever else I'm cooking for dinner that night. It's just cooking on the side. And look, great. I have 3 healthy lunches to take for the next 3 days too. Boom. And that behavior right there, again, causing you to eat healthier, causing you to eat more nutritious foods will enable you to reach your eventual goal of weight loss.
Right. I mean, for example, whoever is like an Asian culture or even Hispanic, like a lot of us do eat rice. Is one of
Yeah,
the major
sure.
thing that we eat. Certain things that I'm trying to do myself is that I started from cutting down white rice to brown rice. That's the first thing that we could try to do, and then from brown rice, try and change to quinoa. So I'm a little bit different, and I'm not really changing them to make a drastic change. And yeah, sure, there's a little flavor difference, but then who those who knows, unfortunately the white rice do have a pretty high glycemic index. It's
Sure,
not
sure.
really, and so unfortunately some people just eat that on every single meal. That's a big chunk of carb adding on to whatever your main meal already is a lot of times.
Sure.
So just small changes and things like that will definitely make a huge difference in the long run.
Again, like James just said, it's just some of those habits, behaviors, it's just about making a small little tweak of what you're already doing that will get you in over time, adding up to different stuff. And it looks like Danielle commented on here. Highly recommend Instant Pot. Cook brown rice with chicken so fast for weekly meal prep. Yeah, great tip, Danielle. Thanks for sharing on Facebook. Again, that's exactly what we're talking about. We get so frustrated and scared and nervous about, oh my god, I've got to cook this stuff. And we're home more now with COVID. A lot of us
Yeah.
are, not us, but a lot of us are. But so those little behaviors add up to big results over time. Or even instead of using butter and all of that kind of stuff, maybe trying to use, okay, I'm going to substitute that for avocado, or I'm going to substitute that for
Sure.
olive oil, or
Yep.
whenever relevant. Trying to find those little substitutions like that are awesome. Or even instead of, okay, I'm going to switch off of dairy milk for a little bit and go to whole milk. Or, hey, you know what? I eat a lot of yogurt, but I notice the yogurt I buy has a ton of sugar in it. I'm going to
Absolutely.
look for the yogurt without sugar. And then to sweeten it, I'll maybe add some real fruit.
Right, exactly. That's a perfect idea. I mean, the Daniel had suggested the Instant Pot is a great idea. Utilize your tools. For example, what I like to utilize a lot of these days is air fryer. Air fryer. I mean, even fish. I just actually for lunch I brought a salmon that just cooked in air fryer. It doesn't require much thinking. I just set it and forget. I think I saw that on a commercial before.
Set it and
Actually,
forget it. There you go.
yeah. So
That's what I
those
like with my
things.
fantasy football lineups, too. Set it and forget it. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I should get into that one time. But I think it's definitely easier. Not only that, there are some different cooking techniques, sous vide,
Sure,
air fry.
sure.
There are different things that you can actually do that actually makes it a lot easier. And Instapot is great as well. You can probably make anything at a fraction amount of time compared to any other like slow cooker or anything
Yeah,
like
and
that.
again, it's not about being perfect. It's
Right.
about being a little bit better, and every day, every week, trying to be a little bit more better. And over time, that adds up to the result and the outcome that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Let's talk about exercise a little bit now. It's, of course, about 2/3 of the way through January, so maybe some of us are exercising, maybe some of us are not. Maybe some of us had trouble getting into an exercise routine
Sure.
this year above all other years because it's harder to get into the gyms now, and not all of them are open, or maybe like there's some safety concerns there. So exercise wise, how do you feel about setting goals related to exercise?
And again, I think exercise also the biggest hurdle a lot of people have is that, oh gosh, I have to go to the gym, or now we cannot go to the gym because of COVID. Well, I have to set up certain amount of equipment for myself to do it, or
Sure.
I actually have to get my attire right, or even actually find a specific time
I
for
mean, if you
it.
don't have the right outfit, did you even go to the gym? Seriously.
Well, that doesn't really apply to me, honestly. But there are a few people out there that make sure that it has to have the pinks. But anyway, that's a different story. But you know, actually, I think we are sometimes thinking way too much of a prepping
Analysis
for
paralysis.
it, right? Before actually just simply doing a squat, let's just say, or
Sure.
even a simple push-up, whatever it is. We're thinking way too much. Okay, we have to make the environment perfect for myself to start actually doing or performing these exercises.
Right.
I think that's the biggest hurdle a lot of times as well, actually.
And it's funny. My mom used to always say this to me growing up, but I firmly believe that it's true. No decision is a decision. The more time you take pondering something, trying to make the situation perfect, the circumstances perfect, the more time that passes. Think about all that time that just went by that you weren't actually doing anything that
Right,
you could have
exactly.
been doing something. So when it comes to the gym, especially now, even walking, it's not. It's colder out now still, at least here in New Jersey, depending on where you're checking in. But even going for a little walk would be a good start. I remember, so I was out of a gym routine for a really, really, really long time. Obviously, like a lot of us were with COVID, and when we started this year, I went back in December to the gym I typically go to. They're all clean, all that good stuff. And I remember the first month, I was like, I don't really have too much of a plan, but my plan is just to be here and do something and just
Right.
get into the routine. Again, yes, is that sustainable long term? No. Is that the best thing to do long term? No. But what was more important to me was just getting back into a rhythm, getting back into the habit of going to the gym so I feel more mentally prepared. Okay, now I want to get back into this exercise routine or that exercise routine. And if you need help with that kind of stuff, there's personal trainers out there. There's plenty of online programs, things you can do at home. I mean, back in the day, I've done, some of the Beachbody programs, and all of that kind of stuff too. Or there's trainers who are working online trying to find stuff too if you need specific
Right.
guidance and coaching.
There are a lot of very simple exercises that you can find on YouTube and things like that as well.
Yeah.
And one thing that I actually found interesting was some of those exercises actually are only about 10 minutes. It's about 10 minutes long. It's
Right.
not a gigantic crazy amount of time, but all you really sometimes have to do is, if you're sitting in front of a computer or your phone, just turn that on and stand up. And just do exactly what it does, on the screen sometimes, or the modified version, depending on obviously, how your physical condition is. But even doing that, starting that for, hey, I can't do 10 minutes, let me start with 5 minutes first.
Right,
let me do 5
exactly.
minutes.
Again,
know-
you're building momentum, you're building up slowly. Even if
Exactly.
you're stuck working at home and you're sitting at your desk all day, it can be hard, right? Maybe at lunch once a day. Okay, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 body weight squats, maybe 3 sets of 10 push-ups. That's it. Something like that, just to kind of start and see how it goes,
Absolutely.
Maybe after that, like, hey, you know what? Maybe in the morning before I start and at lunch I'm going to start doing that, right? Or 3 days a week, for whatever it is. If you just start small, start with something. That's the entire point of this video. Start small and do something and allow that to build and grow from there.
And just like even medication, right? When we are taking medication for whatever reason, you have to listen to your body, right? If you're taking an antibiotic for an infection, you're taking a blood pressure medication, you have to, after you take it, you listen to your body. Is it working right now? Is it helping out, right? So you can talk to your healthcare professional after it. Same thing with exercise. If you actually start doing whatever that's the smallest a bit of amount and taking that couple of steps, your body will tell you or respond to you, okay, this workout actually helped, or this one didn't, and talking to yourself actually sounds weird, but talking to
I do it
listening
all
to your
the time.
body, actually, you kind of catch on and like, okay, today I'll try this because I have better feeling with this one.
I think the key there, because in the fitness nutrition space, a lot of people say listen to your body, and it's
Yep.
good advice and it's true. But keep in mind that you actually have to take a pause and listen. There's many of us, myself, I've been guilty of this at times, just being stubborn. I'm not that hurt, it's fine, or it's not a big deal, and you brush
Sure.
it off and you brush it off. So your body is talking to you all the time, whether you're listening or not. Take a pause. Actually take the time to interpret how you feel. And if you're having trouble interpreting how you feel, talk to someone about it. We talk to people about that kind of stuff here all the time. Or talk to your doctor about it. But ultimately, you should be talking to someone about it. If you're feeling stuff, it could be related to something. Maybe not, but it never hurts to reach out and figure it out. That's what, health and wellness is all about.
Absolutely.
So, Now we'll get into this goal setting worksheet. So this is our setting goals like a pro worksheet. And again, focusing on outcomes versus behaviors, the next step, and I kind of stole this from corporate America, but the next step here is to make that behavior based goal a SMART goal. SMART standing for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So that means you want to focus on something specific, right? I am going to do push ups or I am going to run a mile. That's specific, right? Measurable, it's measurable. I'm going to run a mile is measurable. That's a specific distance I can measure. Attainable, do you think it's really realistic for you to go out and run a mile? Is that something that you can do right now? Is that something that maybe you have to work up towards? Or even if you physically can do it, depending on where you live, okay, well, maybe I'm not in an area where I can really run that far. There's not much space, or maybe, there's not a park or something like that, right? So just think about that when you're setting the goal too. Relevant, is this actually going to help me reach the outcome I desire, right? So if you're setting a goal related to, let's say you want to do push-ups, and you're talking about losing weight, okay, well, push-ups is a good place to start. That may not be the best only thing that you should be doing when it comes to weight loss. Obviously, diet, and you want to get a little more, stuff that's going to increase your heart rate level in there too. But that's a good start. So again, making sure it's relevant to the actual goal and timely. Is this something that, is so you can do right now? Is this something that you can measure with a certain frequency of time and all of that kind of stuff too? And we will set that goal in a sec, but we do have another comment here on Facebook from Jay. Binged on carbs today. How can I recuperate from my frequent carb craving behaviors? Do you have any insight on that, James?
I just eat more, but that's the wrong way of doing it, right?
Well, I think, Jay, the first step here that I would take when it comes to recuperating from frequent carb craving behaviors is kind of like what I just said when it comes to listening to your body. The first thing I would do, and the reason people don't always like doing this is because it takes some effort, you should figure out what you were eating around that time when you're craving carbs or on those specific days. And that could involve some food journaling, which is a really good habit to get in, really good to get in the habit of. Food journaling meaning, okay, what did I eat yesterday? What did I eat today? What did I eat this morning? What did I eat? Whatever. And as you kind of journal those kinds of things, you can show someone, or if you have, feel like you're knowledgeable enough yourself, you can look at it and you may start to notice patterns. Hey, you know what? It seems like I am craving all of these kinds of carbs or all of these kinds of, processed sugars and that kind of stuff because I'm not actually eating a big enough breakfast, or because I'm not actually eating meals that are filling enough, or maybe I'm lower in, salt, and that's what I'm associating with the carb craving foods or that kind of stuff, right? There's different behaviors and habits that go along with those cravings. So sometimes when you're eating more filling, nutritious foods around those, it can actually help to eliminate those cravings. I mean, those cravings are always going to be there, right? So that's one part of it. The other part of it is maybe it's an associated behavior that's making you cause those cravings, right? Maybe you're at home and you're working from home all day, and suddenly, you look over and you see your fridge, and then you go do the lap around the kitchen, and you're opening the cabinets. Oh, what kind of snacks? What kind of my snacks? That could just be a little bit of boredom too, So there's a lot of different factors at play. It's hard to say specifically. In general, eating, fuller meals, more nutritious meals, that kind of stuff can help too. Or even replacing that with something else. If you're craving, depends on what the particular carb is,
Sure.
but sometimes you're actually hungry, and maybe it's okay to actually have a snack, something smaller. And at that point, I would say, okay, how can we opt for something that's a little more nutritious, maybe something with a little more fiber in it? So the FDA says there's this rule called the 5 and 20 rule. So if something is less than 5% on the percent daily value, it's low in that nutrient. If it's greater than 20% in the percent daily value, it's high in that nutrient. So sure, maybe you're craving a particular carb snack, but if you're eating one that's higher in fiber, over 20%, okay, sure. Maybe it's okay to indulge that craving a little bit then, just because, I'm doing it in a more nutritious way, right? So hopefully that's helpful, and let us know if you have any follow-up questions to that. But ultimately what it comes down to in that kind of sense is figuring out why you are craving the carbs to begin with, as opposed to, trying to attack the problem on the back end. You want to look for the why and the cause of it, the root cause up front. So that is how going back to our SMART goals here. That is how you would set a SMART goal. So something like a SMART goal would be, okay, I am going to, let's say it's exercises related. Ultimately, let's say you're trying to lose weight and build some muscle. So my SMART goal is I will go to the gym 4 times per week. 2 days I will do high intensity interval training, and the other 2 days I'm going to do a push pull routine, maybe a little lower body, upper body, mixing those kinds of things in. I'm speaking fitness terms, but that's a specific type of routine. And so basically the 4 days, and I know that I'll be able to get there on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Actually, no, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and I know possibly I can go to the park on Saturdays too. So that's my goal. Is I'm going to exercise those specific routines 4 days a week. I'm going to do it in the morning, and I'm going to be able to go for a walk at the park on Saturdays for the foreseeable future. If it rains, I'll go on Sunday instead. See how that goal is extremely specific? It's extremely measurable. I know exactly whether I did it or not. It's attainable for me because I think it's, well, we'll get into that in a second. And it's relevant because it's going to put me towards my goal, and it's timely in the same way as well. Now, let's say I started off with that goal 4 times a week, those specific routines, and then on the weekend, go into the park once. The next aspect here to consider is the ready, willing, and able scale. Am I ready to accomplish that goal right now? Am I willing to do that? And am I able to do that? There's a lot of different variables in there. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, you want to ask yourself, am I ready to reach this goal right now? Am I willing to reach this goal right now? And am I able to reach this goal right now? Ready meaning mentally you're prepared, you're in a good place, you think it can handle it. Willing, do you actually want to do it? I mean, that's a big factor here. Like, of course, like everyone wants to be healthier, wants to exercise, or wants to eat well, but there's a big difference between wanting to do that and like actually wanting to put in the work it takes to do that. So that's something to consider too. And then able, maybe you have an injury right now, or maybe your circumstances has changed and you can't get to the gym. COVID would be a perfect example of that. So on a scale from 1 to 10, I feel 9 out of 10 ready, willing, and able. I feel 9 out of 10 ready to do that goal. But maybe I only feel 6 out of 10 willing to do the goal I just said about 4 times and then the extra park trip on the weekend, just because it's the beginning of the year. I've got a lot going on. Work's been a little busy, so it's hard for me to truly do that. So you know what? I changed my mind. Now that I'm really thinking about it, 4 days is too ambitious. I'm going to cut down to 3 days. And then now I feel 9 out of 10 ready, willing, and able to do that task. So you see, that's the key thing that people miss with a lot of goals when it comes to health and wellness too. You see how I set a goal, and even let's say I was doing that goal for a month, and I was fine with that for a month, and then something changed, and all of a sudden I was no longer able to accomplish that goal anymore. What most people do is they hit the off switch, and then their goal just goes away.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, the key is to just dial back. Don't turn the switch all the way down to 0. If you're at 100, even dial down to 50. Even if you have to dial it down to 20, that's better than dialing it down to 0. And that's the key that a lot of people miss. And this kind of ready, willing, and able scale it's just a model to help you kind of frame your thinking around goal setting. But ultimately, that's what you should be thinking if something changes. Instead of I can't go to the gym anymore. Oh, I can't do this anymore. Okay. My goal is still the same. I still want to lose weight. I still want to be healthier. How can I accomplish that goal and adjust my plan to do so? That's the key missing piece.
Yeah,
right
I think the whole idea, what Vince is trying to say, is that whenever we come up with these type of New Year resolution, right, we're very kind of blunt about it. I want this, and then kind of cricket afterwards. We really gotta. It happens, like this year I'm gonna do this. Okay. And then, and then today's a new day, new morning, let's do it. Well, how? And we don't really think about it until it actually time to kind of do it. So it's actually pretty important that you actually sit down and really think about, okay, do I really want this? All these different scales, and then the SMART goal factor that we have to measure it out, and then really think about, okay, if I do this, and at the same time, think of after you achieve that goal, right? What will happen to me? Why am I doing this? Think of the possible reward, as well. And that kind of helps you kind of keep it going as well.
Sure. James is a father. A lot of people, when it comes to parents, like their why is for their children. They want to be healthier for, themselves and their spouse, and to raise their children to try and be healthier and have that kind of stuff too. Or because you want to be around longer to be able to spend more time with them and family. It's a really common why. So if that's your why too, that's great. But there are other exercises where you can try to figure out that why too. Actually, if you go to gaspersbest.com or on our Instagram right now. There's a link to a free 5-day program called our Motivation Reset. And we actually do that exercise in there, helping you find your why and understand your deeper motivation. So if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. It's a free thing on our website, and it's on our Instagram bio, I believe, right now, too. Yeah, and the last thing I know we wanted to talk about today specifically is stress burnout from 2020. 2020 was obviously, for a myriad of different reasons, an extremely stressful year for all of us. So specifically, what did you have to say about the stress burnout,
So
James?
basically, stress can be mental, physical. It can be any different aspect. Whatever bothers you is a stress, right? It can be a stress. And the problem is, if your body is at well, think of it this way. Let's say you're a gazelle, right? Let's just say you're a gazelle,
A gazelle.
right? Yes. And
I've
then
always wanted to be fast.
you're in,
That's
you're in, this big Africa, where you are, just eating with your herd and things like that. All of a sudden, a lion pops up, right? And you're running, right? You're running from it, and then let's just say, obviously, you're successful at running away from it.
cool. Okay.
That was a stress. That part where lion jumps up was stress, right? But after that, lion went away, and you're fine. You don't see gazelle like huffing and puffing. Why did it have to follow me? You don't even think about it that way, right? You don't really stress
funny.
over it. The fact that lion was was chasing you, right?
Sure.
Unfortunately, we do that. Humans do that. Let's just say, even in the traffic, you're sitting down in the traffic, right? And someone honks at you, and you're like, and some people, after you are still at work, you're like, why did that guy just honk at me?
You
Why,
definitely did not want to say guy, but yeah.
right. But, people stress over it, which means that throughout our daily lives, whether it's COVID, whatever things that's happening, we have these small lion and tigers are jumping at you basically every day. And the problem is that our cortisol level, our stress level is high all the time. Okay? But your body can only handle so much, right? And it's already been a past year with this COVID, and then it's still ongoing. It's actually pretty bad right now as it is. We don't know when it's going to actually end. There are a lot of different speculation on that. However, we are stressed out. Everybody is stressed out at many different levels, and there are a couple things that you can do to help yourself. Obviously, exercise, diet, and all that stuff is good. Personally, I've been trying to attain these goals with help with some of the supplements that I've been taking. Specifically, are ones that are vitamin B complex and things like that. But today we have something here called Adrenal. Adrenal Boost. Now, Adrenal Boost NG, the NG stands for non-glandular. Basically, there is a term that's floating around, adrenal fatigue, right? That's not real disease. However, a lot of people do use it in a sense that you've been burnt out. You've been burnt out from stress. And how this supplement can help is that it helps to find that balance or create that balance in your body. Basically, if you are stressed out and you're having all that tension, it helps you kind of reset your body to start the new year over again. All right, so this is a one supplement that I think it's pretty popular among, especially who are really feeling that difficulty, trying to find a hormone balance, everything, and things like that. So this
Adaptogens is
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Basically, what that is that it helps to find the balance in your body. It's not gonna push for immune support, as in like, oh my god, let's boost up your immune system, let's get into fighting mode. Not like that, or the vice versa. If try to find the happy medium where that it give your body chance to refresh and restart over again.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, James. And one last comment we have here on Facebook from Jay again before we wrap up. Jay says, sometimes I set a goal or two, but later boredom settles in or perhaps get distracted by other chores. My question is, how can I stay in the game and continuously get motivated? With the COVID restriction, there's only so much I can do and lose interest so quickly. Yeah, so the COVID restriction, Jay, definitely plays a part in things when it comes to going to the gym and that kind of stuff. Now, there is, like I said, the motivation reset program we have online can help you find your deeper motivations, which can help. But ultimately, there's a little bit of a fallacy when it comes to goal setting or nutrition or fitness that we need motivation. Motivation is like this fleeting thing. Sometimes you're hyper motivated and sometimes you're not, and that's totally normal. It's totally normal to get bored with different things. And for Ileana, do you want to type that real quick? Well, I'm following up with Jay here. She's typed the name of So it's totally normal to kind of, get out of sync, and it's totally normal to get bored with stuff. Ultimately, yes, you can kind of try and reset your why, and you can reset, okay, hey, I'm doing this because like I want to get my confidence back, and maybe you're going through a tougher time in your life and you want to feel better. Like, I personally have had that as my why before. And that's a good why. So part of it can be finding your why, but also part of it is honestly you just need a plan, and a plan that's consistent, and a plan that's not boring. So if you are bored, I would highly consider checking out other stuff. I don't know what kind of programs you've been doing, but try a different style of workout, try a different style of activity. There are a lot of other ways that you can be active and be working towards being better and still have fun. Obviously, again, yes, I agree, and I understand that with COVID it's a little bit different, but it should be enjoyable. And if you're not enjoying it, you probably should adjust something. So I would kind of think about that, or think about the times when you are exercising and you are enjoying it. Why is it that you're enjoying it? Why is it that you're having more fun and staying consistent, right? Again, it kind of goes back to the journaling and doing some self-evaluation and reflection to figure out, all right, these are the times when I was more motivated or I did feel better. What was I doing then? What was different then about now? And if it's just simply, I just don't feel like it this week, that's normal. And that's exactly why a plan and consistency and holding yourself accountable to that plan is key. Even if you get someone else in your household involved or something like that, or go in with a friend, that always has helped me stay more accountable as well. If it's just like, even this morning, there's no way in hell I felt like going to the gym this morning, especially with everything going on, especially with, just tired out of a routine and whatever. But I went because, well, I told my friend I would meet him there, and I had to go do it. So then all of a sudden that accountability comes in, and then that is what kind of keeps you going as you try to gain your momentum
Yeah,
back.
I mean, as Vince said, that RWA scale that we were talking about before, try to do that maybe every week or every 2 weeks to reassess your goal.
Yeah.
Maybe you're able to do. Maybe that's probably the major problem sometimes, that your willingness was 10 in 1 week, and then you were doing it, and then a week after it became 8 and 7. Or
Exactly.
8. Something might be changing. So, and again, listen to yourself, right? The fact that you're getting those feelings is not abnormal, but there probably a reason behind why you're
Sure.
feeling that way. So reassess the situation, and try to do that scale.
Yep. Things are always going to change. It's really important to evaluate, adjust, and make a change to your plan if you have to keep yourself accountable and going. Changing the plan is always better than stopping the plan. Cool. I think that's all we've got for today. So if anyone has any other questions, as always, you can reach us at HB Pharmacy at 201-997-2010, or you can find us online at hbpharmacy.com or gaspersbest.com, GASPARS best.com. Any other questions, of course, this video is up here on social media. If you want to comment, we'll get back to you. Or if you're watching or listening, I should say, on our podcast after the fact, feel free to comment and let us know, or reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer questions if you have any. And thank you guys for tuning in as always, and we'll see you next time. See ya.
Thank you.